Raymond King, a retired government official, is sitting inside a club. When the people watching him from outside report back to their employer that he is about to talk, the order comes back immediately to eliminate both King and whoever he is meeting with. The woman King is meeting is named Anna, a professional killer who takes contracts and leaves no trace. King is showing her a photograph when he notices the men moving toward the entrance. King fights his way through the attackers inside the club. When he finally steps through the front door and out onto the street, he sees that Anna has already killed the men who came around the back and disappeared without a word. What neither of them noticed was the sniper, Dickie, positioned inside a parked car across the street. The shot is clean and immediate. King is dead before he hits the ground. King's colleague, a federal agent named Medina, receives the news and goes to the hospital to identify the body. When she looks closely at King's arm, she finds a message written on his skin in the hours before he died. Call the accountant. A man was seen in the scene who was getting ready to go to a dating program. A long queue of women was set before him. Medina goes to King's house next and finds the walls covered in photographs, case notes, and connection threads from an investigation he had been running quietly on his own. Among the materials, she finds a photograph with a name written on the back. The name is Christian Wolff. Medina calls Harbor Neuroscience Academy to find out about Christian. A girl was seen rushing upstairs. She caught the codes of Medina and got the information about the King's death.
Dickie meets his boss.
Their actual target was Anna. His boss is afraid that the girl might remember him from the previous incident and will kill him. He sends Dickie again to Fort Worth to kill Anna.
Christian Wolff, a man who has no fixed address, no public profile, and no record that any standard background check would surface.
He is profoundly gifted with numbers and equally capable of handling himself in situations that have nothing to do with mathematics. He lives in a modified truck that serves as both his home and his mobile office, moving when necessary and staying only as long as a job requires. When Medina tracks him down in a parking lot and introduces herself, Christian knows immediately why she has come. He heard what happened to King. He goes with her. Back at King's house, Medina pins everything she has gathered onto the wall, while Christian studies the room in silence. They work through the photographs and documents together, looking for any connection that King might have identified before he was killed. Christian has reorganized everything and found what King was building toward. The investigation was centered on a man named Pablo, who once lived with his family near the Mexican border. Pablo's wife eventually left, and Pablo himself drifted through a series of jobs before disappearing from all records entirely. King had been trying to locate what was left of his family, and someone had decided he was getting too close. Christian and Medina follow the trail to a factory where Pablo's wife was last known to have worked. The owner is initially uncooperative and dismissive. Christian tells him calmly that he has access to the factory's complete financial records, which show a pattern of inflated sales figures used to move money from illegal sources into legitimate accounts. The owner moves from dismissive to aggressive very quickly. He explains that he has no interest in the owner's financial arrangements, and that he is only there because someone has been trafficking women through this region, and who needs a location to start from. The owner decides that cooperation is the more sensible option, and gives them the name of a hotel. Christian contacts his brother Braxton before they reach the hotel and asks him to come and help with the investigation. Braxton arrives and immediately begins working his own angle, approaching 3 women connected to the hotel's surrounding network and asking them a carefully worded question about what they do when a client becomes dangerous and refuses to let them leave. The question is specific enough to frighten 2 of the women into leaving immediately. But the third stays and offers to provide a name in exchange for more money. She names a man called Mark, a buyer connected to the local trafficking network, and then she leaves as well. Braxton has Mark located and knocked unconscious before he can be warned, and he is placed in Medina's vehicle so she can process him through official channels. Meanwhile, Medina receives new information from her office. It turns out that Pablo's original disappearance had been investigated at the request of his own father, who hired King to find the family. A separate report confirms that human trafficking operations in Pablo's home region were extensive and well organized, and that during one particular smuggling operation that was intercepted, everyone involved was killed, including Pablo himself. The people running the network left no witnesses.
Christian brings in a hacker he has worked with before, a woman who built a public profile teaching computer courses to children, while quietly maintaining an expertise in tracking and accessing systems that most people would consider inaccessible. Medina is skeptical. She points out that King was a highly skilled and experienced investigator, and that if he could not crack this case, she has doubts about what a small informal team can accomplish.
The hacker takes this as a personal challenge and gets to work. The team's shared priority becomes finding Anna, the woman who met King the night he was killed. Everyone agrees that King must have told her something about the investigation before the attackers arrived, and that Anna may be holding information she does not even know is significant. The hacker pulled the street camera footage from outside the club. As she was experienced at avoiding surveillance, her face wasn't captured. Every angle is obscured. Then the hacker notices something in the background of one frame. A woman standing on the opposite side of the street was taking a selfie at the exact moment Anna passed behind her. The hacker accesses the woman's phone to a remote connection, isolates the image, and extracts Anna's face from it. They found her criminal footage of killing people. Her real name and her history remain completely unknown to any of the agencies that have been trying to catalog her for years. Braxton studies the photographs from King's investigation and identifies something the others missed. The manner of death in several of the cases is consistent across different locations and different circumstances, suggesting the same person carried out all of them. Braxton tells her that he is also a professional killer, and that the signature is recognizable to anyone in the same line of work. Medina leaves the room. She is not interested in working alongside someone who describes himself that way, regardless of what he knows. Medina goes to the detention facility where Mark is being held and questions him directly. She tells him she can arrange a very long sentence if he is not helpful. And she shows him the photograph of Pavlo's family. Mark confirms that he purchased Pavlo's wife as part of a transaction with the trafficking network. He says she ran away from him some years ago, and that he has no idea where she went. He adds one detail before he can say anything further. After the escape, he heard she was hospitalized nearby for an extended period following a serious accident. Before he can name the person who sold the women to him, the sniper who killed King appears from behind and shoots Mark and his lawyer simultaneously. Medina drops behind the furniture and survives, but the lead she needed is gone. The hacker calls Christian shortly after with an update. Despite exhaustive searching, she has been unable to find any further information on Anna. The trail ends at that selfie. Christian and Braxton take a break from the investigation and go to a club together for a drink. A woman there catches Christian's attention and approaches him. The conversation goes poorly in the way that Christian's conversations tend to go poorly, and she concludes that he is not interested and moves away. Braxton tells him he should have spoken differently. When they reach the parking lot, Christian produces the woman's phone number and hands it to his brother without comment. Medina goes to the hospital where Mark's information led her and speaks to the attending physician about a patient admitted years earlier after a violent assault. The patient had suffered severe head trauma and significant facial injuries. The damage required both brain surgery and reconstructive facial work. The physician says the patient's recovery was remarkable by any other medical standard. When Medina examines the admission records more carefully, she realizes what she is looking at. The woman in those records is Anna. Someone sold her into the trafficking network. Her husband was killed in front of her. She was assaulted badly enough to require facial reconstruction, and she recovered and became something more dangerous than she had been before. The hacker accesses the hospital's records remotely at the same time and forwards the information to Christian. Braxton uses a separate channel to discover that someone has placed a contract on Medina's life, and the contract has been accepted by Anna. Christian is already moving when Braxton tells him he does not get there first, and the two of them engage in a close and serious fight because Medina has been trained and does not go down easily. Then Anna sees a photograph sitting on a shelf. It belongs to her own family from before everything happened to them. The memories come back in a cascade. Her village, the men who came and took everyone, her husband dying in front of her, being sold, the hospital, everything. She stops fighting. Christian arrives and reads the situation immediately. He tells Anna that he knows where her son is and that he can take her to him if she wants. Anna is quiet for a long moment. Then she says she does not want that. She left that life completely behind and has no intention of returning to it. She walks out. Christian takes Medina to receive treatment for her injuries. The man behind all of it is Burke,
who operates his trafficking network under the cover of a legitimate fish trading business.
Burke was the one who ordered the attack on Anna's village years earlier. He is also the one who had King killed, who sent the sniper after Mark, and who has been running the phishing and fraud operations that feed money into the trafficking network from a distance. When Burke learns that Medina survived the contract, he understands that his entire operation is now exposed. He orders his men to erase every trace of the business and to move all the children being held in his facilities to a new location immediately. Christian already anticipated this. He knows Burke will not sit still and that moving the children means putting them in greater danger. He and Braxton head out immediately. The hacker calls in while they are driving and tells them she has identified a bus crossing near the Mexican border, carrying a group of children that matches Burke's network's records. She also finds something worse. Burke has had a large pit excavated not far from the crossing point. The plan is to move the children there and bury them. Christian does not slow down. Burke's men open fire on Christian's vehicle as soon as he arrives at the location. Braxton follows the bus carrying the children, while Christian holds the ground. One of Burke's men gets close enough to knock Christian down and stands over him with a weapon. Christian uses the car to end the problem and gets back on his feet. He and Braxton reach the bus together, clear the remaining guards, and board it. Inside, Dickie has a gun pointed at Pavlo's son. Christian shoots him before he can act on the threat. Braxton finds the pit and stands at its edge, looking at how close it came to being used. All of the children are loaded onto the bus and driven away from the site. Hackers call a client of Burke, and through him, they gather information about Burke's whereabouts. Anna receives the hacker's call separately. The hacker has confirmed that the man responsible for destroying Anna's village, killing her husband, and selling her into the network is Burke. His exact location is sent to her. Anna goes there alone. The fear Burke had that one day he would get out of the shower and would see Anna standing before him to kill him became true. Burke sees her and attempts to run. Medina dismantles the fishing operation Burke was running as a financial front for the trafficking network. She cut off the money flow and seized the servers. In the final scene, Christian is with the children as the bus is carried away from that pit. He has settled them somewhere safe. Medina calls the hacker's phone and thanks them for all the help they provided. Those kids who were working as hackers were also there. After dropping off Alberto, Christian wishes to spend some time with his brother Braxton. He offers to go hiking with him and live with him. Braxton agrees happily.